Thanks again for joining us today for our live Q&A to discuss our Master of Administration program. My name is Caitlin Beard, and I am the Coordinator of Graduate and International Recruitment here at Arkansas Tech University. Just wanted to remind you guys that we are going to draw at the very end of this for a $40 application fee waiver. So if you want to be entered in that, be sure to go ahead and drop your email in the chat here on Facebook, and we'll draw that at the end. So you won't be entered unless you drop your email. So go ahead and do that now. And I have a few questions for our panelists here, but if you have any as we're going through, be sure to send those in the chat and we can ask those at the very end. But I'll go ahead and let our panelists here introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Peng Huang. I'm an associate professor of finance and economics at Arkansas Tech University. I also serve as the director for the MBA program. I joined Tech in 2017. I have a doctorate degree in economics. I'm also a CFA charter holder. CFA means a Chartered Financial Analyst. I have been teaching and doing research on finance and economics for more than 10 years. So welcome to the live Q&A session for the MBA program.
My name is Logan Felder, and I'm a recent graduate of the Arkansas Tech MBA program. And I actually did my undergraduate at Arkansas Tech as well. I did graduate spring 2021, so fairly recent. And I currently work as a business systems analyst for Advantage Digital Marketing Solutions, specifically focusing on Mondelez International's Amazon sales account.
It's great to have you guys this afternoon here with us today. I'm going to let Dr. Wong, if you'll just tell us a little bit more about the program.
The MBA, the program at Arkansas Tech University, is designed to prepare students with a career in the information and the data analytics skill needed in today's fast-paced business world. So our MBA program offered 3 different chapters, which include the general business chapter, the business data analytics concentration, and the digital marketing concentration. The general business track required the completion of the 30 credit hours. That's 10 courses. The business data analytics and the digital marketing concentration require the completion of the 33 credit hours, which is the 11 courses. So our MBA program is the 100% online program, and all the courses are taught online. This offers the great flexibility to students, especially those who work full-time and cannot come to our campus. In addition, our MBA program is AACSB accredited. AACSB is the benchmark of the high quality for the business education worldwide.
That's great. So Logan, what enticed you about the MBA program?
So as Dr. Wong had mentioned, it being completely online, when I graduated from my undergraduate, a few months later, I had welcomed my newborn son in a couple years ago. So I hadn't even thought about a graduate program just for parental reasons. But having it online made it quite flexible. And my undergraduate is in biology, and without really any graduate studies, there wasn't much to do with the degree. But the MBA was flexible enough to incorporate what I had already done. I had some basic business courses already, so I kind of fell right into it. The GRE scores transfer over as well, and it was really easy to get up and running in it, and then get into a flow of being at home and at work while still being a parent.
That's great. And you had mentioned that your degree was in biology, and so that is a little interesting and different than what people normally think students who go into the MBA program. So Dr. Wong, my next question for you is, what are most students next steps after completing the program? Logan here is the working at Advantage Solutions. What typically do students do after this program?
Again, our MBA program is designed to help students to improve their ability to analyze the information based on the data and make better managerial decisions. So after graduation, our graduate work in a different position at a different company, non-business organization, as well as the government sector. So their job title include analytics manager, accounting supervisor, business analyst, client manager, operation manager, project leader, financial analyst, financial manager, sales executive, and marketing officer. Yeah, again, for example, Logan just graduated in the spring this year. Now he works as the business system analyst for a marketing company.
Yeah, so that sounds like there's a lot of different jobs out there for our MBA graduates in several different fields. So Logan, how has the MBA program, prepared you for your current role? And what are your plans in the future and how do you think that this program has kind of set you up for success?
Yeah. So with the preparation for the course, or that the course kind of set me up with, was being able to understand the ecosystem of a large corporation. One of the things that kind of came up a lot in the course program was financing. There were quite a few supply chain focused type classes. So just everything that entails the inner workings of a large corporation. And now working with Amazon specifically, there is a huge transfer of commonalities with how supply chain stuff works, and I understand the lingo of that now, and I was able to hit the ground running with it. I do mainly inventory and sales data, but in big corporate meetings, I'm on the same page as all the supply chain managers, as the marketing managers, the ones that are posting all of the ad data. So I feed sales data in to those managers so that they can better position ads and marketing campaigns for the segments they're looking at. In the future, I do want to take on more of a back end technical role. So not so much doing the direct reporting, but building the systems that an analyst would use to do the reporting. I've done some prototype stuff with Mondelez and their Amazon reporting, since it was very new to Mondelez. If you're not familiar with Mondelez, that's Nabisco brands. What else? Sour Patch Kids. So you've seen their other products mostly of time in grocery stores. So the Amazon ecosystem was new, and just being kind of at the frontier for them with getting things rolling on the e-com side has been fun. But I definitely want to be on the back end development role and not so much on the front line of reporting directly up to higher ups.
Yeah, and I know you had talked about, while you were in the program, you were a graduate assistant, correct? Can you talk a little bit about that? And
Yes.
hopefully get my lights to turn back on.
So funding the program for yourself is always a big question. I just came out of my undergraduate. I'm a veteran, so I was able to use my GI Bill for my undergraduate degree, but that doesn't go into covering my master's program. And having a newborn and looking at paying for graduate expenses was daunting, but not too overwhelming. And then graduate assistant position opportunities opened up, and I'd heard about them, applied for a few of them, and landed one in the tutoring center, the Apex tutoring lab on campus. And I worked that for my whole undergrad. We did the whole transition over during COVID to remote tutoring, and it was a challenge. It was fun, but it gave me an opportunity to be on campus, to have my tuition covered, and still work on assignments while I was working in the tutoring lab. As a graduate, I wasn't directly tutoring students. I was managing the tutors that were who were all undergraduates, tutoring in the classes that they've had. So the big difference for us was just making sure that scheduling was set up, as opposed to face-to-face, one-on-one with students all the time.
That's great. Yeah, and that kind of leads into my next question for Dr. Wong. Logan had mentioned being a graduate assistant, but what all kinds of other funding opportunities are available for students in the MBA program?
Yeah, I will echo what Logan say. The major the scholarship, the opportunity at Arkansas Tech University come from the graduate college. So our MBA the students are definitely encouraged to apply for those the assistantship. In addition, some of our MBA the student they also have the scholarship from the employer. So again, the students are encouraged to explore those opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. And so I just want to take the time. We're about halfway through with our live Q&A. I just want to remind y'all, if you're just now joining us, we're going to draw for a $40 application fee waiver at the end of this session. So if you want to be entered, you have to enter your email in the chat, and then we'll draw that at the very end. And if you have any questions for either Dr. Wong as the program director or Logan as a very recent graduate of the MBA program, about what his experience was like, definitely send those in the chat and we'll answer those here at the end. So the next part of our live Q&A, I just want to talk about what it's like to apply to the MBA program. It's not as difficult as some may think. So you will basically just go online to apply. We use a system called Business Cast. You'll be able to create an account and upload all your documents there. We'll check those here in the admissions office and make sure that we have everything that you need. And then we'll send that over to Dr. Wong, who actually reviews your application and makes that admission decision. It takes about a week or so to get that all in. And then, once, if you're admitted, we'll, follow up with your next steps and things. And so I'll let Dr. Wong go ahead and discuss the specific admission requirements for the MBA program.
Yes, our MBA program include both the unconditioned and the conditional admissions. For the unconditional admission, you need to have a minimum GPA of the 3.5 from the AACSB or ACBSP accredited business undergraduate program. For the conditional admission, you need to have a bachelor degree with the minimum GPA of the 2.75. So for the conditional admission, the GRE or GMAT test is required. However, we offered a series of the waivers for the GRE or GMAT requirement. If, for example, we offered the waiver based on the students' the working experience as well as the professional titles. Yeah, in addition, if you have a bachelor degree with the minimum GPA of the 2.75, you can apply for our program without getting a GRE or GMAT test. Once you get accepted into our program, if you can keep up your GPA at 3.25 after completing 12 MBA credit hours, that's 4 MBA courses, your GRE or GMAT requirement will be waived. So I think this is a great news for the students because it helps students save the time and the money spent on the GRE or GMAT test. We also require a series of the prerequisites, which include the principle of the economics 1 and 2, principle of accounting 1 and 2, business finance, and statistic. So if you have a non-business undergraduate degree and have not completed those prerequisites, please don't worry. Yeah, you can apply for our program without completing those prerequisites. Once you get accepted into the program, as your advisor, I will guide you on how to complete those prerequisites by either taking the actual undergraduate courses or using the online modules. Yeah, for example, Logan here has an undergraduate degree in biology, but after he got accepted into our program, he completed all his prerequisites while pursuing his MBA degree. So in short, you can apply for our MBA program without completing the GRE or GMAT test or the prerequisite. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, and you can find my contact information on the web page of the MBA program.
Yeah, and I'll also go ahead and drop Dr. Wong's email as well in the chat. So that way, if you want to reach out to him directly. So I just want to remind everyone, be sure to send any questions that y'all have in the chat and we'll answer those as well as your email if you want to be entered in the drawing. We do have one question in the chat so far from Sophie, and she asks, with the MBA being online, how would you recommend building a relationship with your professors?
Sure. I'll come in from a student perspective. All of the professors in the syllabi provide multiple contact sources, and all are very aware that it's an online oriented course. I don't think I waited any longer than even outside business hours, much longer than an hour, maybe 2 hours tops for a response, and actually had like webcam communications with some of the professors who are at home, because it's a lot better to have a face-to-face conversation, even if it is through a screen, because you can screen share, so you can show them, if you're having an issue. And throughout my undergraduate, I was always at my professors' open, their office hours and time. And it's really no different. They have their times available during the daytime, and then most of them will have a window available in after hours where they can tend to more immediate pressing questions. If something's got a deadline, they'll definitely make sure you get it squared away before the turn-in time.
Yeah, really well said, Rogan. Yeah, I just want to add one thing is the our professor here at Arkansas Tech University really care for the students. So if a student have any question, the student can reach the professor through the email or making phone call or even visiting the professor in person at their office. So again, I would say as a student, you are really welcome to contact us for any question you have for the courses.
So there was a question asked, and they just wanted some clarification. So if your GPA is over 3.5, then there's no GRE or GMAT requirement, correct?
Yeah, if the student have a GPA over 3.5, but student also need to have the business degree from the AACSB or ACBSP, the undergraduate program. So it depends. Yeah, if the student have a 3.5 GPA from the non-business degree, the student still need to required to have a GRE or GMAT test. But again, as I mentioned, we have a many opportunity for the waiver for the GRE or the GMAT. And if a student has a 3.5 undergraduate GPA, suppose it's not business degree, the student will be accepted into our program conditionally. But once student get accepted into the program, if the student can keep the GPA above the 3.25 after completing the 4 MBA courses, the GRE or the GMAT requirement will be waived.
Yes, and that's definitely a question that we get often. So great question there, Connie. So I just want to ask just one final question for y'all. If we don't have any other questions in the chat, y'all got one last chance to send those and to drop your emails to be entered in our drawing. But just want to ask a follow-up question. If there's just one thing that y'all would add to people watching why they should apply to the MBA program.
Sure. Ease of access. This last year kind of changed the way everybody did everything. Going forward, I think permanently. There are some things that are going to go back to normal. It's definitely one thing to go to class in person than it is to be online. But there were several of my in my cohort that graduated this last spring that were not even in the state, and that allowed for really big flexibility. We did group projects together. There was a woman on one of my projects that was in Hawaii, so time zones were the big factor that worked into that. But just flexibility. I know there's a lot of programs that are offered online, going just because of what happened last year. I think Arkansas Tech already had, a head start on that because it was online prior to COVID and not a reactionary response to COVID. So it was already well established, and they've got the process in place for conducting it online.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Logan say. Yeah, again, our MBA program is the 100% online program. So it does offer great flexibility to the student. And it also can help students develop the skill to how to work through the internet. Yeah, and you can see this have more cases in the real world. And on the other hand, our MBA program really emphasize on helping students develop the skill based on the information and the data analytics. And there's a strong demand for this type of the skill from the different industry. So those, I believe, are the advantage of our MBA programs.
For sure. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We do have one other question in the chat, but it looks like we've answered it. They asked about being in Missouri and qualifying for in-state tuition. The answer is yes. Any state that borders Arkansas, you can qualify for in-state tuition, even if it's an online program, as long as you're living in that state. So that is our. Oh, we had one more question. Someone said, do you have to take certain classes in specific semesters? Like, is there like a certain classes that you have to take?
I was just going to add that the online program that is setting up the prerequisite stuff. So if you don't have all the prereqs, there's an online process it's not held from an Arkansas Tech class perspective. It's done through an application online that you can access kind of whenever you want, and it's already predetermined materials you test whenever you finish a program. I personally took one class as a prereq on campus just to kind of refresh myself, and that was an accounting class. But yeah, it's an online program that's not an Arkansas Tech based class.
Yeah, I will also add, yeah, we have a very flexible schedule for students. So students can take like 1 class, 2 class, 3 classes per semester, depending on their work schedule. And each semester we offered a series of courses. So students have a flexibility to choose the courses they would like to take.
Well, that was the last of our questions. We have several questions today and lots of people who have entered for our drawing. So we went ahead and drew for that, and it looks like the person who's going to win the $40 application fee waiver is going to be Connie Westcott. So congratulations, Connie. I'll shoot you an email later today with all the directions to use that application fee waiver. So we did drop Dr. Wong's email in the chat, and I'll go ahead and put mine in there too. So that way, if y'all have any questions that y'all can think of about the program, or is there's anything that we can help you guys with, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. I want to thank Dr. Wong and Logan for joining us today, taking time out of their day to meet with us. And thank you guys so much, and hope to hear from y'all soon. See ya.
Thank you, Logan. Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, everyone.